Bill and Sharon, welcome to Kidney Plugged In.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Thank you, Barbara, for inviting us.
You're joining us both today from beautiful Bowser, BC.
That's right.
And you both have an incredible story to share with us. I think it began around 2018. You just retired, looking forward to some vacations and having some great time to share, just the two of you. But an incident happened. Can you take us back to there and share with us that story?
In 2018, I retired from the forest industry and had a very good career there, and thought it was time to go. So I was lucky enough to be able to walk away from that job. For the first part of the retirement, it was good. We did a few trips here and there, and we like to go to Mexico every year. So I got away to Mexico, and Sharon actually went to Australia. Of course, in 2020, when we just got back, COVID hit. So that kind of shut down all of our travel for about a year, well, for the year. 2021 came along pretty fast. Actually, we're going on our annual fishing trip up to Nootka Sound, and I hadn't been feeling well for probably a month, maybe more. Sharon would describe it as lazy, but I describe it as tired and lethargic. That's when I first had indications that I had a problem with something. I didn't know it was kidneys at the time. That was in June of 2021.
Bill, you mentioned being lethargic, being really tired, so you went to the doctor. How did that go?
Yeah, I also had a sore on my foot and a swollen ankle, and I went to the doc, my GP, and he thought it was just an infection, and he gave me antibiotics and sent me on my way. But it got worse, and eventually my legs swelled up quite a bit. And July 1st, I guess it was, or June 30th, Sharon insisted that we go to emergency, and emergency was in Comox Hospital, North Island Hospital in Comox. They took me into the emergency room and did all sorts of blood tests on me, and of course discovered that my creatinine levels were sky high, and that's an obvious kidney indicator. So they shipped me by ambulance. They said it was emergency down to Nanaimo, where they have a renal unit there, and that's where the rest of my journey started, in Nanaimo Regional Hospital. First, they gave me a kidney biopsy. They told me what the story was about. My kidneys are basically operating at about 5%, what they should be. They inserted a catheter in my chest and said, "You're going to be on dialysis." And I said, "Well, what does that mean? Can I still go fishing at Nootka?" They just laughed, said, "No, you're not going anywhere." So because of COVID at the hospital, Sharon wasn't even allowed to come up and see me. So I was in isolation at the hospital. I was in there for 5 days. Yeah, it was pretty traumatic.
So how did that change your life?
You know, again, I had no idea about what the treatments even were. I'd heard about dialysis, of course, but no idea that it was 3 days a week, 4 hours at a time. And, you know, you're basically hooked up to a machine that's cleansing your blood and keeping you alive. So that was fairly traumatic for us, for all of us. By the time I got out of the hospital, Sharon said she wouldn't even recognize me. Hadn't had a shave in 5 days, and hadn't had my hair washed or shower either. So I ended up traveling back and forth to Nanaimo, which is about 50 kilometers from Bowser each way, for kidney dialysis 3 days a week for 4 hours at a time, where you read books or you watch something on Netflix or whatever you've got available. Yeah, so that was for about a year and a bit, and then I was transferred up to the community clinic, dialysis clinic in Cumberland. They were fantastic there. So, well, they were fantastic in Nanaimo too, but they just treat you like you're special, and they look after you, and you're getting your blood tested all the time, and they're telling you what you need to stop eating, what you're eating too much of, and it's a big change in your lifestyle. You're basically tethered to dialysis. So that means you can't really go anywhere for any length of time. The longest I went away from dialysis was 4 days. And after 4 days, I was feeling pretty sickly.
So how did you feel after dialysis?
Yeah, after dialysis, you feel tired. You know, it's taken a lot out of you. But the next day, you feel pretty good. And by the time your next dialysis treatment comes up, you're starting to feel pretty under the weather, I guess is a way to put it. You're lazy again, and you spend a lot of time just sitting around reading. You're not really active. You don't have a lot of energy. The biggest thing I found was it changes the way food tastes, which is kind of weird, but it does put a different taste on all your food. It's kind of a metallic taste in your mouth. And I explained to me that it was because dialysis takes some of the toxins out of your blood, but it doesn't take it all out just because of the process. And it leaves a fair bit of toxins in your blood, and that affects the taste of what you're eating. So that diminishes your appetite. Well, Sharon will tell you I lost 50 or 60 pounds over the 2 years. I was down to 152 pounds when I got my transplant.
So how long were you on dialysis for?
It was a 2-year journey on dialysis. So it started in 2021 in about July 1st, and it ended on 2023, June the 6th in the evening when I had my last dialysis.
Bill just mentioned the weight loss he was experiencing. Was that a shock for you to see that happening?
I knew it wasn't my cooking. Yeah, it was one of the shocking things. Because you live with somebody that's losing weight loss gradually, and you can see that there's difference in their shape and the way that their clothes fit and what clothes don't fit anymore. It's when you haven't seen people, or people haven't seen you for a while, and you look at their face and they're trying to take in what his structure looks. Bill's 6'3". He was frail.
Kidney disease doesn't just affect the person living with kidney disease, but it affects the whole family. Sharon, when Bill was on dialysis, did you become the caregiver? How did that change the family dynamic?
Well, the running joke in our family is that I'm not a nurse. You have to step into the role. And we were fortunate with the dialysis that Bill could drive himself. I was still working for a year. He was able, energetically and focus-wise, he was able to drive to the clinic, which was like 35 minutes away, to have dialysis and come home. A lot of patients that Bill has talked to, they were dropped off or the person stayed with them. I couldn't stay with him during COVID. In fact, I never saw the inside of the dialysis unit.